Are you dreading your next home repair? Don't. Crew Pros is your one-call solution for everything your home needs. Whether it's heating and air, plumbing, complete roof replacement, whole home generators, and electrical repairs. Our professionals get the job done right. Crew Pros is your single source for high-quality home services at affordable prices. For everything your home needs, Crew Pros. Remodel, repair, replace.
Memphis. Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee, the beautiful land in the world.
And I'm thankful for this guy who tweeted and said, I don't have that fire in my eye no more. That game right there was for him. That's what I do. I prove people wrong each and every night, and that's for him right there.
Hi, this is Tom Izzo at Michigan State, and you're listening to Grizz 901.
What up, Grizz Nation, and welcome back to another episode of Grizz 901. We are presented by the good people at Zach Jaworski State Farm. We're coming off a dub, and we're going to celebrate here. We're going to actually give you a little bit of why the Grizzlies won. The biggest hot topic, other than hot topic, but the biggest hot topic right now in Grizz Twitter is the Dylan debacle, the Dylan debate, whatever you want to call it. We're going to give you a little bit of that. We're going to discuss that. Nate and I have not said anything about Dylan Brooks so far, so we're going to hit on that. We're going to kind of see and preface it with only if Luke Kennard is okay. And then we're going to give you some predictions and give you our silver linings for the next game. But before we go anywhere else, you know who we got to bring in. Yo, what up, man? What up?
It's giving affordability and taste. Victory show, DG. I was hoping we'd have at least one more, so I'm glad we're here today.
My God. So, all right, listen. So, from me, like I'm sitting here thinking, if the Grizzlies lose, what are we going to say? Because I don't want to have that podcast. I'm so far removed from having that podcast. Like, I don't want to have the last podcast. And so coming off of a loss would be terrible. So this whole day I'm thinking, all right, I know what we're going to say if we're going to win. Like, we're going to break down the game. But if we lose, what do we say? And I'm so glad that we don't have to talk about that today. But let's go ahead and get into a little bit of tonight. So the Grizzlies win 116-99. How big is that, holding the Lakers under 100 again? The two wins in this series, the Grizzlies have held them under 100.
I mean, it's big, but the bigger number is 116 to me, to be honest. I think they played decent defense all series outside of really that game 3 was pretty brutal. But outside of that, they played pretty good defense. Offensively, they just couldn't find anything, man. They just couldn't get it going. And so to see them play the way you would think they would play tonight, that's a team we thought would show up. And quite frankly, it's a team we haven't seen since the fourth quarter collapse in game 1. So I'm more concerned about the 116, excuse me. And I'm mostly concerned about, like you said earlier, Luke Kennard's shoulder, but we'll talk more about that when we hear more.
Yeah, we'll address that. We'll kind of probably find out more in the post game exactly kind of what happened, maybe, and any insight to what maybe Taylor Jenkins and the staff might share. But the Grizzlies winning 116-99. You like the 116, which is big. I think the 99 is big for the simple fact that the Grizzlies play decent defense outside of, man, what was it? Midway through the fourth quarter, it seemed like they got every single rebound because, let's just be honest, there's a bunch of dudes on there that just don't rebound well. They were on the court, and that was half the issue. And you know what? Shout out to Dak Daniels. Grizz in 7?
Dak's always a homie.
Yeah, thank you for hanging out. If you are listening on over at Twitter, go over to YouTube first. Wipe your feet when you come in. Push the like button. Push the subscribe button. And hang out with us. We'll be here for every single win. And a little bit of what's going to happen in the offseason. I'm going to be in the studio. We actually had a meeting tonight. So I'm going to be in studio during the offseason, but not during the season because that's way too many games. But looking at the numbers in general, the Lakers, they shot 25.6% from 3-point, and the Grizzlies shot 35. How big of a difference is that? Like, that's not much of a difference, right? You're talking about 10%, roughly, 10% in 3-point percentage. And so they went in totals, because I think totals can be, kind of the percentage can be deceiving. But 10 of 39, I believe they went close to that. I think they shot 36 in the last game, and 14 of 40. And the Grizzlies went 9 of 42 in the last game. So you're talking about making 5 more. That's a big difference. Just that 5 more. That's huge.
Well, when you think about that, 1 more would have won you the game. It's
true.
if you
Absolutely.
look at game 4. So, I mean, and that was what everybody's been waiting for. It just took a lot longer than expected to get there. The progression to the mean, right? Where you had Desmond Bane couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. It felt like, even when he broke out the last game, a lot of that was mid-range game, getting downhill. He still was struggling from 3. And so to see him tonight come out 4 for 9, Ja 2 for 5, Jaren 2 for 5, which Jaren was the difference maker in the second half.
Yeah.
If he didn't show up in the second half, they may have still pulled it out. It would be up in the air. And that was one of the worst halves of basketball I've seen him play all year. That first half, it was terrible.
I think at 5 points by half, I believe.
They were all free throws.
Oh,
0 for 3, 5 for 5 from the free throw line, I believe, at the time.
Yep.
Which means he only shot 1 free throw in the second half, but which is unsurprising. But him coming out and being assertive and aggressive and getting involved, they have to have that. Yeah. And I put out there, you can't have Jaren and Dylan on the court together when they're both that bad. I mean, we'll talk about this a little bit more later with the Dylan thing, but quite frankly, Jaren not being engaged and active and a center point, a focal point for the Grizzlies can't happen again. He's got to be more involved from the get-go. And I think what you saw at the end tonight was him finding a way to get comfortable more so towards a baseline as opposed towards a traditional post, and then using that his athleticism to kind of sneak in there and use his body to create opportunities at the rim. And that's going to be big. They need him to operate down low.
Listen, Dylan, not Dylan. We'll talk about him.
We'll get there.
Jaren is absolutely crucial for this team. Like, he just did not play well in the first at all. And I think he's going to play much better. And he showed a little bit of that going through the second half. But, man, it just looked weird. It didn't look good. I'm hoping that he bounces back from that. But all in all, the Grizzlies played well. The biggest thing that I saw with the Grizzlies is they played with pace. Like, the very first quarter, they were up and down, and that's their pace of play. They have to get up and go, no matter if that creates more turnovers for yourself, because that absolutely did tonight. But you have to do that to get the pace. You got to get the pace up on both sides. And once you get the Lakers running with you, that's when the Grizzlies can go on those 17-2 runs. And those big runs is because they're better at up and down, and they're younger. Like, if you can run on this Lakers team, every game now has 1 day of travel in between, and that's the only rest day. The other days are game days. You're talking about a guy in Anthony Davis who is fragile at times. He's an amazing player, a top, we'll say 10, just to be kind. I don't want to go into 5 area. A top 10 player when he's healthy. You can probably go higher, but a top 10 player when healthy. He just hasn't been healthy. So you have to somehow push that. You're talking about a guy in LeBron who's amazing, one of the best ever to play the game. He's 38 years old. You have to push the pace of play to possibly get him some more minutes, run his legs a little bit. But something that came from Reggie Miller, I came in here into the office to get ready to record, and I heard Reggie Miller say something very good. So don't listen. Don't turn it off. He said something good. He said that the Grizzlies, the one good thing about them blowing the lead a little bit late in the fourth quarter and allowing them to get under the 20-minute mark, the 20-point mark, is because they ended up leaving Anthony Davis on the floor a little bit longer. They left some of their key guys on the floor. They ended up taking LeBron off the floor, but they ended up leaving Anthony Davis and some other guys on the floor. Those are extra minutes that they probably would have went ahead and set around the 6 or so minute mark in the game. but they came back and they ended up going out around the 2.5 minute mark. That's big for the simple fact that you're making them play down to the very wire, and they have to stay involved in the game. They can't get any rest time. So yes, we'll consider that a silver lining because, and we'll hit on some other silver linings later in the show. But a silver lining in letting them come back and getting it under 20. We'll use that one.
Oh, sorry, I have myself on mute. I've been coughing a lot today. I'm glad to hear Reggie Miller might actually watch basketball, contrary to what I believed before you said that. But I still don't think that guy watches much basketball. But I still with LeBron, I mean, there's a reason he didn't come back on the court. That dude looked gassed really from the get-go. He didn't look like himself tonight. I told Sarah, and listen, we've said before, there's not going to be any LeBron slander on this show outside of corny stuff he says in front of a microphone. We still make fun of that. But I told her, I was like, this is the first time I can remember in a really long time that LeBron James looks human. You know, even when he does. He hasn't controlled games the way he used to control games back in his Cleveland days and his Miami days. But still, you saw what happened at the end of game 4. I mean, he just came out and won him the game, right? And he didn't look like that tonight. So, listen, I have no doubt they'll figure out. I can hear all of that, by the way.
Sorry, I'm turning my mic. I was set up wrong, and so I'm adjusting things, so I apologize.
I have no doubt that he will be rested. They'll get him good with some ice baths or whatever they do for ice baths now. Back in my day. And he'll be ready to go on Friday. But he didn't look like himself and still played 37 minutes. He had Reeves played 40 minutes. Davis played 35 minutes. D'Lo played 30. That was really the extent of it. But if the Grizzlies, if Taylor Jenkins sticks to what he found that works, which a big of that part of that is Luke Kennard.
And this podcast mainly.
And this podcast was helpful. I mean, I don't want to hate on Taylor Jenkins, but I don't think it was the most complicated of adjustments, and it wasn't much of a secret what needed to happen. We'll talk about it more later, just in case.
Let's go into it right now. So let's go with the Luke stuff first. And we're going to lead off with that for the simple fact that if Luke is not okay and Luke can't play, look, we're just going to be honest. You can't do much. There's no adjustments you can really make within the lineup. Okay, then yes, you can. But all in all, realistically, the Grizzlies need Luke to be okay. A stinger, you have those in football all the time. It just kind of goes numb. You can't really feel it. You saw that a little bit with AD. He couldn't raise his hand or his arm. I think it was in game 2, I believe, or was it game 1? It might have been game 1.
It was game 1.
Okay, and so he was able to come back in. So listen, I would imagine that Luke's gonna be okay. But if we could just say a kind prayer, just please be okay. Like we need, and it's in his shooting arm, which is the only thing that worries me is the shooting arm.
Well, and the way he was trying to shake it out makes me think it was a stinger. He was trying to shake it out before he came out of the game, and him being doubtful, I think had a lot more to do with the score than it did what he was actually feeling like. And that plus he's a shooter, right? I mean, a stinger on your shooting arm is going to mess with you a lot, right? Dak, the answer is no to your comment, by the way. I'll let Daniel pull it up at some point later on.
We'll get to that.
I still think you can make the adjustments, though. So, yeah, we want Luke to be okay. It's a big deal for them. You can still make the adjustment.
All right, so let's go into it real fast. Okay, so let's say Luke isn't okay.
Mm-hmm.
What do you go? I know we're going to get into the Dylan stuff, and we're kind of going to meander into that right now, but what do you do with Dylan and whoever else you're thinking? Like, what are you thinking? If for some reason Luke can't play, what are your thoughts?
You Steven Adams from last postseason, Dylan. I mean, what are we doing?
Wow.
What are we doing?
All right. Listen, let's just go straight into it. What to do with Dylan? Dylan has looked the way he's looked, right? And Dylan Brooks is obviously a polarizing figure right now. Like, he just is. Like, I hate Dylan Brooks, the basketball player. The human, kind soul, we don't know enough about him. We're not talking about him
we're not
as
talking
a
about
human.
Him personally.
Just want to make sure that's clear because a lot of people sometimes can't separate the two. We're separating the two. The actual basketball player, the guy who puts on the Grizzlies uniform, he has absolutely sucked so bad that it makes me so mad. And now I'm the one defending him in a sense because people are yelling just to straight bench him, don't play him again. And I am on the opposite side of there's different ways of handling it than just straight benching him. What do you say, you? What are you going to do with Dillon?
Bench him. I am the Dillon Brooks defender within our group and have been for a long time.
Wow.
He is unplayable, Daniel. Here, you know what makes him not unplayable? If he catches the ball wide open from 3 and drives, which he did early in the game. I thought maybe he'll do that. Daniel, he doesn't do it. 2 for 10 from 3 tonight. He can't help himself. He can't help himself. And if he's going to do that, dude, they just collapse. They just collapse on Ja. They just collapse on Bane. They double team Jaren. Like, if Dillon doesn't drive, and when he does drive, he gets wildly out of control. You can't do it. And the adjustment is you play another guard, whether it's Conchar or Tyus. You get the Roddy in there. But until Dillon Brooks stops shooting those threes, you cannot do it. And it's the same thing. I'm the same with Dillon now that I am with everybody else. You get the first 2. You get the first 2 shots. But then, dude, like, what are we doing? And the idea is, oh, the next one's going to be the one, though. You can't quit shooting it. Yes, you can, and yes, you have to. He's unplayable, man. Look at his plus minus tonight.
Listen,
he's minus. Listen, he's a -7 tonight, which sounds fine until you looked at plus
everybody
1
else.
for Jaren, plus 11 for X, plus 19 for Ja, plus 18 for Dez, plus 12 for Tyus, plus 26 for Luke, and he's spending most of those minutes with one of Ja and Dez out there.
Right.
So think about the fact they're a plus 19 and a plus 18.
Yeah.
And he still finishes a -9.
Yeah, so Dak Daniels just said his defense was bad tonight. His defense was atrocious. His defense has been bad.
That's what I'm saying. What does he do someone else can't do?
I have said that Roddy is the Dillon replacement in the offseason. Like, he just is. I don't know if he's ready just yet, but
Dillon's not ready.
He can't be. Dillon's right. You're right. Dillon's not ready. But you can't do what he's doing. Listen, you're talking me, and I'm talking myself into benching Dillon. But okay, let me be the devil's advocate a little bit, okay? Because we got to have a little bit of understanding and on both sides, okay? Dillon is a good player when he plays within himself. Yes or no?
Yes, I've said that.
Perfect. Okay.
For years. Yeah.
I agree. He can be a good role player when he plays within himself. He has not played within himself. Taking 15 shots is the worst possible playing within yourself you can do. Okay. He's that you know what 15 shots is? Playing with yourself. Not playing within yourself.
You know what's helpful? If you drive and you turn those into mid-range little jumpers, or you get to the rim. Because guess what? It's still not going to be pretty. We're still not going to love it. But instead of going for 3 for 15, you go 6 for 15.
No, you just 15. Go 3 of 8 and call it.
No, that's what you want. But at the end of the day, this is what we have. But that's what I'm saying tonight.
Right.
If he just drives, like, let's say he takes 6 threes, 4 of those shots, the same amount of shots, but you take them in. Let's say he makes 2 of them, 5 for 15. It's still better. But
it's
you
still
just can't.
Better, yes, but
here's the thing, Daniel. He's got to take shots.
I agree with that. If you're wide open, you have to take the shot.
Whoever's getting that ball has to take shots. The only thing that can happen is he drives in, he starts getting buckets around the rim or hitting mid-range shots, and then they start saying, okay, we can't just play that far off of him because he's killing us just by getting to the bucket or just by getting to the mid-range.
All right, so I got a question real quick. So Santi Aldama played 13 minutes tonight. Mm-hmm. If Dillon, whether they go with Roddy, whether they go with Jitty, I don't know. If it was me, I'm probably going Roddy because I like his energy better than Jitty's, and personally. And I do love Jitty, and I love what he can do for you on the rebounding, right? I think that he can be. But if you're going to start Xavier Tillman, then it's okay to play Roddy because you don't need somebody to rebound as well because you have Jaren and X who can actually rebound. And at that point, you could probably go with Dillon off of the bench, you play him between the Roddy minutes. Okay, so Tyus played 15 tonight, and and then you're talking like Santi played 13, and Jitty played 10. You're talking about 10, 13, or 15 minutes. He plays with high energy. He goes out there and he's a pest. He can play free. There's not much that he's going to do wrong and completely kill you in those limited minutes because he's going to be up and down the floor, playing a lot of good defense, just honestly just being annoying. That's just probably what he's going to be doing for those 10 or 15 minutes. But I think that is part of the option that you can go with. And at that point, I still feel like you can go with a guy like Dillon and somehow hold on to his confidence, because if he does get hot and if he does play well, then that is so much better than Jitty. It just is.
You lose nothing by replacing Dillon with either one of those guys. This is such a switch-up show.
I know.
Because I would say put in Jitty instead of Roddy. We have switched places. This is a Freaky
Jitty
Friday.
hasn't hit a three just like that.
It's a Freaky Friday on a Wednesday.
Jitty hasn't hit a three. I don't know if he's hit it one in the month of April.
He plays within himself.
I agree. He doesn't shoot as much.
And David Roddy, who I adore, and I think you're right, he's a Dillon replacement. I think when he is playing well, way better than Conchar. It's not even close.
Yes.
He's just young. You saw him get sped up at moments. Maybe that didn't happen. He's able to slow himself down. We're good to go. Then fantastic. But I think Jitty plays within himself, and you don't need someone that's going to do anything amazing because you're not losing anything rebounding. Like, you're going to gain rebounding, whether it's Roddy or Jitty. Not worried about that. You gain an offensive threat, no matter which one of those guys it is. The thing you would, in theory, lose is defense. You're not losing that with Dillon right now. His defense all over the place. I don't understand it. It's odd. I don't really get why he can't be his normal self on defense, but he's not. You lose nothing. Now, if Dillon's going off, then yeah, that's great. Also, if Dillon's going off, that means Ja probably broke his femur because he's getting all those shots again. Like, like, I don't understand any great scenario where Dillon Brooks is going off unless it's, hey, he's 7 for 9 and 3 of 5 from 3, which at this point, can you afford to wait on that when just putting someone who's a threat in there opens up the offense for everyone else? You just need someone that has to be respected.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous. Like, I never in my life would have thought I'd been on this side of things. And if you told me that, hey, we're going to go ahead and go with Roddy and we're going to bench Dillon, listen, I'm so down. I can't be more down. But I'm just thinking that if you try to give a guy who is one of the oldest guys, one of the vets on the team, a chance to maybe send him to the bench and maybe you can resurrect him, right? You're talking about just giving him limited minutes. You're finding a different role for him, and maybe it works out. Sending him straight to the bench is just so tough. Go from starter to bench, but starter to a bench role, I think is a little bit better. But we're going to see. I don't know if Coach Jenkins will have the huevos. I don't think he'll have them to actually say, Dillon, you're done.
Let's say this. If Luke's good to go, do we say he's in? Right? That's a no-brainer, right?
Been down with that.
Okay. That's just making sure. I just think we've reached the point. And you know what we're really setting ourselves up for? The ultimate Dillon game, where it's like, not only does he go like 9 of 11, 4 for 5 from 3, 2 of those threes are to seal the game. That's what we're setting ourselves up for with this conversation, which obviously we would welcome. But listen, I have been the biggest Dillon defender in this group for a minute. And I'm just like, I don't know the player I'm looking at right now.
I know who he is.
It's unfathomably bad to me.
Have you ever seen the Scooby-Doo episodes? So when they finally catch the guy and they take off the mask and they reveal who it is,
and it's the same guy.
He's the same guy. He's the monster. You just didn't
here's
realize
the
who he
difference.
is.
It's like he has this unshakable, irrational confidence where even if he sucks, he doesn't think he sucks. Right now, Dylan Brooks thinks he sucks. If you watch him, he doesn't think he's good. He is hoping balls into the hoop. And I haven't seen that from him before.
All right, last question. We're running a little long on this one, but last question. I just want a yes or no, and no, nothing more, nothing less.
Good luck.
Ja and Dylan. Dylan has not in the last 2 games, but Ja and Dylan last game. Dylan have a press conference tonight. Does he actually go to the podium? Yes or no?
No.
Wow. So you think even after a win, he says, no, I'm going to hold off. All right. We're going to see about that. We're going to hit on that a little bit later on. But real quick, we're going to hit on some comments, and then we're going to move it on to some adjustments and then give you some silver linings and kind of pat you on the booty and send you out of here. But all right, out of the 3, this is what Dak Daniels says, is Conchar is one for this series, in his opinion, for the simple fact that you need a net zero. Ja, Dez, and Jaren have, they're going to have to carry you, right? And so if you have those 3 who you pretty much put more pressure on, and then you have this guy who's just going to be a net zero, somebody who's just going to do the dirty work, grab some rebounds, pass the ball, not take stupid shots. He's going to just kind of even himself out and just make him just an even number. Then you go with Conchar. Explaining it that way, I like that, and I think Conchar does a lot of good winning things. I think Conchar also is a role player, 100%. So you can't really play him 25 plus minutes. I don't think. I think that down the stretch you might want to go with a guy like Roddy, but I probably would start Jitty and go to Roddy if I bench Dylan. But I think what might actually happen is if they do go, I think they would probably start Jitty because they have more faith in him and come and bring off the bench a guy like Dylan. I just don't think Taylor Jenkins will do it, but we'll see.
If Luke Kennard isn't healthy, there's zero chance Dylan gets benched, by the way. This is not what the Grizzlies are going to do. It's what I think they should do. And I completely agree with Dak there. That I think Conchar, and you, agree both of you, Conchar is the bridge guy. He's not the guy that you have there in the clutch. If it gets down to that, then you throw in Tyus or Roddy, I think. But
I think you go small, yeah.
He's the bridge guy. And I told Sarah, I was like, after the first quarter, my wife, sorry, Sarah is my wife. During the first quarter, the Grizzlies, I'm like, that's what they've played like all year. If they played like that and stayed that focused and that in tune the entire series, it would be over. We wouldn't have gotten to game 5. But what I said had happened was the Grizzlies, they would have these little peaks where they're like killing it, and then they'd have these valleys. The Lakers haven't done anything special all series. They've just been this. They've just been steady the entire time. That's why you go with Conchar. He's just, like Dak said, a net
steady
zero
Eddie
that keeps you steady. You're not going too high. You're not going too low. You're just even the entire time. And then you let your guys like Ja and Dez and Jaren do all the heavy lifting for you. And then X showed up again tonight in a huge way in that third quarter.
Yeah, X played well. And if you're in Grizzlies spaces on Twitter and I come in there and say, hey, Lakers fans, I appreciate it. We don't need your pity. Your team just isn't that good either. But you know what? The Grizzlies have just been that worse. That's the problem, is the Grizzlies have played terrible. Your team isn't good. You might move on. You might win game 6. Who knows? We'll see how it plays out. But the Lakers are not a good team. The Grizzlies have just been awful. They have been absolutely terrible. Let's get into this one on Francis real quick. I kind of held this one off because it wasn't hitting on the Dylan stuff. But I want to ask you the question. So was this more of a win on the Lakers' fatigue, or do you think the Grizzlies made adjustments to actually get the win?
Both.
Okay.
I think the Lakers were fatigued, but I don't think the Lakers want this to go back to LA. I don't think it was one of those things where they just completely didn't care. I think it was, you saw the Grizzlies bomb them out, and then they would give up the lead when a certain person was back in the game. I mean, you had lineups that worked and you had lineups that didn't. And I thought you saw that play out. There's only one stretch at the, I think it was towards the beginning of the third quarter when it was like not much was working at all. And that was the only real Lakers run where I thought they were more in control of the game. But I thought the Grizzlies just came out and asserted themselves, and I don't think there was anything the Lakers could do about it. But at the same time, were the Lakers as engaged as the Grizzlies? Of course not.
Yeah.
3-1 lead on the road, do or die game for the home team. Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of both, but I do think the Grizzlies' adjustments win that game, even if the Lakers are fully engaged.
Yeah, I don't think the Lakers were completely fully engaged, but also the Grizzlies played their style of basketball. And I really think that's what matters is they played their style of basketball and they actually got up and down the court a little bit, early on in the game. And I've said this from the very beginning. The Grizzlies play better early in the game. The Grizzlies and their bench guys who literally are just a bunch of guys who aren't great, but if you allow them to be the front runner a little bit, they're going to play a little bit higher than their level. But if you punch them in the mouth a little bit and blow their nose or water their eyes, they're going to just not bounce back as easily. You've seen that with Rui. You've seen that with Reeves, who, he's still playing well, but he's not doing those little things that just annoys you. And so
pressure does some things, man.
It does. Pressure bust pipes. That absolutely does. The Grizzlies have a chance to step on their throat in game 6. They have to do it early. If you allow them to come out and play well early in the first half, the Grizzlies are going to have an uphill battle the entire game.
The Lakers are going to come out clicking in game 6.
Yeah.
Don't you get it twisted. They're going to come out clicking. The Grizzlies have to come out clicking too. What can't happen is what happened in game 3, where the Lakers came out clicking and the Grizzlies just were dumbfounded and had no idea what to do. That can't happen. You have to weather the early storm.
Very much so.
That's what you have to do. And that's why I'm going to preach it even. You just got to stay even. If the Grizzlies didn't have nearly as high of highs, but you knocked out the lows as well, they're winning this series right now 3-2, right? Maybe you just won the series. You've got to stay even. And the biggest thing, and we said it on the pregame before game 3, Desmond Bane had to find it, and he's found it. He has found it. That is the biggest thing. I don't expect Jaren Jackson Jr. to have another half like he had tonight in the first half. And if you have Dez cooking, and then Ja Morant, I believe, is going to be Ja Morant. You've got to have it all. You don't have the horses to not have all of that going for you and win this series. But if you do have it all it is one game at a time. One game at a time.
Yeah, it is. It is one game. I think it was Jay Crowder who said it early on. And
Boss Man 99.
He was always saying, like, just one game. That's all you need, one game. But I'm going to ask the question, and I'm going to tease it a little bit. But I'm going to ask the question. Is Desmond Bane right now, as currently constructed as we are in this series, don't answer just yet, but think about it. Is Desmond Bane the best player on the court right now? Is he the best player right now? Hold your thoughts real quick. Before we get there, our presenting sponsor is Zach Jaworski, State Farm. If you need any insurance at all, especially if you're local here in the Memphis market, give them a call. They'll be more than happy to give you a good quote and a friendly quote and be somebody that when things get tough, when life happens, just in general, man, life seems to be happening right now for us. But when life happens in general, you can give them a call, 901-794-3691. And if you want a free quote, just go online, ZachInsuranceMemphis.com. That's ZACH, ZachInsuranceMemphis.com. Whether it's auto, home, life, whatever you're looking for, give Zach Jaworski, State Farm, a call, and they will make sure they hook you up. But please, he's had actually people that he's had to pull it out of them. He's like, so really, how'd you hear about us? And finally, they were like, well, we heard you on a podcast. Like, give us our name, please. Give Zach and his team our name. Tell them the Grizz 901 team sent us. You can say Nate if you don't like me. You can say Daniel. Just tell them that the Grizz 901 team sent you. But real quick, let's go ahead. I know you're talking to your wife, but you're just going to have to just stop.
No, I'm listening to Luke's press availability. He says it's just a stinger. So good news
stinger.
for the Grizz.
All right, so Dak Daniels says, "Come on." I don't know what that means. You have to explain yourself.
I'm actually disagreeing with Dak for maybe the first time in our online friendship. So I'm sorry, Dak, but I don't think it's a runaway answer by any means. But I think the answer is yes.
Wow. Okay. We're doing something here.
Yeah, I mean it's clear they were blitzing Desmond Bane way more than they were blitzing Ja Morant tonight. And Dez still went off for 33 points on super efficient shooting. Over 50% from the field, almost 50% from three. I mean, him opening up his shot making changes the game.
Beautiful.
And it's the mid-range. It's not just the three. Him being able to knock down that mid-range shot. You know, you watch the Phoenix Suns. I'm sure you watched plenty of the Phoenix Suns.
Devin Booker, yep.
Not just Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Kevin Durant. They murdered them from two. I have my doubts about whether or not that will win an NBA championship. Just because if you go cold, you go cold.
Yeah.
And if you go cold, but you're hitting some threes at the same rate you're hitting the twos, that's better for you. Anyways.
Right.
At the same time, if you're hot, bro, like there's only so many times the other team can miss if you don't miss. Right. Yeah. And so him being able to knock down that mid-range jumper has been killer. But, you know, he's getting downhill. He's able to knock down those shots. He's doing a lot of playmaking. How many assists did he have tonight? 5. That blows my mind. He only had 5 assists. I think it's probably because X smoked like about 7 layups tonight. Poor X. It's okay. He made up for it in the second half. He turned it on for the Grizz, so it's okay. Yeah. And he's had a great series. So there's no one that we can be. If there's anyone we can be mad at, it's not Xavier Tillman. But yeah, Dez is doing everything right now. And then you got Ja, who is still the most dynamic player on the court. Like the end of the third quarter, that's when you have Ja Morant. There's going to be nights where he needs to be the best player on the floor for Memphis. But what they really need Ja for, and the reason he's such a difference maker and he's that superstar, what you need in the playoffs is because he's the guy that is like, okay, hammer, nail, coffin. We're ending this. We're putting you away right now. I'm making the big play. And you saw him do it at the end of the third quarter. And you saw him do it throughout the game. It wasn't just in the third. He had some really timely threes. But as far as the best overall 48-minute player on the court right now, that's Desmond Bane.
I agree with you. So, and the reason I'll say, I'll kind of answer a little bit back about Dak and what he's saying. I'll always say this. Please join us over at YouTube. We can actually see the comments. We can't see your comments on Twitter. A lot of people comment on Twitter. We can't see it. It's just how the platform works. So if you're on Facebook, I think we can see that. So thank you for listening and commenting. But 100%, I do know that we can see the YouTube comments. But Dak Daniels says that he was the best player tonight. I agree. But he hasn't been the best player in this series. Ja makes it go. Listen, I'm going to disagree in the wins so far for the Grizzlies. All right. The 2 wins. I will say that Desmond Bane has played better. And this is the best game so far for Ja Morant in a win. This is his best game in a win. The only other good game really that he's had was in that loss where he went off. And he just went crazy. I think it was game 4?
If we're talking about who's been the best player in this series, it's probably it's Anthony Davis. Yes. I'm talking about who in the current play of the guys we've seen is the most locked in and best right now. If you put him on the court, it's Desmond Bane. The whole series, obviously, the Grizzlies are losing the series for a reason. None of them has been the best player on the court. But
the Grizzlies.
But if you're talking about from the past couple of games of play we've seen and who, if you put him out there right now, currently I'd say is the best, it's Desmond Bane.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a good series so far for Dez. He came out early in the first game and played well. He hasn't played well until it was, I think, last game, and then this game, games 4 and 5. He's really played well. And so, man, I just think that Ja, he plays it kind of like a blitz, and like Ja is the blitz on our team. Like when Ja gets going, it's like you just don't know what to do. You're just getting blitzed like a quarterback. You're seeing ghosts, and you're just like looking around like, where in the world is that coming from? And that's Ja Morant. But Desmond Bane, he is downhill Des for a reason. His short T-Rex muscular arms are just somehow doing whatever and spinning the ball. Like they don't go far. They're just spinning the ball. When he gets to the rim, it just spins like this. Like they don't move out further. It just spins. It's beautiful.
That was good. That was good, Danny. You're getting better at this. One wrinkle that I don't know if Taylor Jenkins necessarily found it tonight or they just sort of fell into it, though, was when they're having to blitz Dez like that because he's killing him in the mid-range, it opens up a lane for Ja to get to the rim. And when Ja gets a head of steam, it like
lights out.
Yeah, there's not much you can do about it other than foul him. Unless, of course, John Goble's the official, in which case you don't have to do anything.
I got a question.
Foul on Ja, actually.
I got a question. So, listen, I don't want to halt your conversation or thought process, but I do have a question.
But you're going to do it anyways.
The Grizzlies tonight, they had a bunch of nobodies that most people wouldn't know of. You know who Bill Kennedy is, right? Most people do.
A sneaky, terrible referee.
Sneaky, terrible, loves the camera, and can't wait for the green light. But Michael Smith, nobody really knows who that guy is. As David Guthrie, you kind of know a little bit about him, but he's not really known. He's not the villain, right? He's not the villain of the NBA referees. Just hold your thoughts on them. That's who we got tonight. We've gotten some terrible, terrible refs out in LA. What in the world are they going to do game 6? Like, is there any way they recycle what we just had? Or is it just going to be the Zach Zarba, Jason Goble game? Like, is that what we're going to get? We've had bad referees. We've had Mark Davis-led crew. Then we had a Goble-led crew along with Ed Malloy. Do you think is there anything behind this?
There's only
Scott
one
Foster.
man.
I like Scott Foster.
D. Grums is with me. There's only one man for the job for a high-profile playoff series. Doesn't matter. He's coming back. There's only one man to handle that kind of high-profile game. The man who doesn't crack under pressure, who is always in control. The legend in his own mind. The Dylan Brooks, perhaps, of NBA officials. Scott Foster.
Scott Foster to the.
I actually like Scott. When people were all mad about Scott Foster in a game, I think it was game 1. I was like, did no one see Eric Lewis's name on the docket?
Eric Lewis. I hate him for the Grizzlies just in general.
It's sad that I know all these names, but yeah, I actually I think Scott Foster. I had no idea who they're going to put on the game. If I had to say who would it be the perfect game for, though, it is Scott Foster, 100%.
Yeah.
This is tailor-made for Scott Foster.
I can't see the referees for the game right now. For some reason, I can't see them for the games that are live. But John Goble did the Knicks-Cavs game, which the Knicks 4-1 over the Cavs. Is that surprising?
Yeah.
Hold on. Who is DG as a ref? Is that me? I'll ref. I'm not good. I'm not good at all. I tried like 12-year-olds.
Whatever it takes.
Bro, it was so fast. And I know basketball through and through. I think I have I'm dumb.
LeBron has been ejected from the bench.
Yes,
he was tying his shoes.
That can't be me. That's Danny Green. That can't be me. I'm terrible at it because it moves way too fast.
No, there's no way they put John Goble back on it or Mark Davis.
So I don't know who else is there, but Zach Zarba is available, I believe. I don't know who's set for tomorrow. We'll find out at 8 a.m. in the morning. But
honestly, it does make sense. I mean, I don't know if Foster officiates tomorrow night. It wouldn't make as much sense. But him being a game 1 referee, this is and it's only a half joke. It's a high-profile series. There's a lot of media attention on it, and. Love him or hate him, Scott Foster is a good referee for this high profile.
Dude, he's a dick. And you know what? I'm fine with that. Be a dick.
That makes you a great referee for those high profile games.
I agree.
So I wouldn't be surprised to also be Scott Foster.
Maybe I need to get back into reffing because sometimes I can be a dick.
We're all aware. You did not.
Why'd you roll your eyes? That's not fair. I can see you. All right, real quick. So I was going to put this out. They just announced. You've got to be kidding me. All right, I don't know if anybody's aware of this. Friday night game.
Mm.
9:30 start.
So 8:30 for me.
Yeah, way to make it sound better. Thanks a lot, you a-hole. It's
Why are you-
9:30 for us. We're going to be going on at the earliest at midnight on a show.
Yeah, that blows, but I don't know, like, why are you?
Dude, 9:30 start?
It's West Coast game.
It's usually like 9 at the latest. It's been 9.
Okay. I don't know what you mean. I'm not as nearly as upset about this as you are. I'm sorry this happened to you.
All right. If you had to guess right now, real quick, the who's favored and by how much?
Oh, Lakers. I mean, I'm looking at it. That's probably not fair. Sorry, my eyes went straight to the line as soon as said. But
See,
I was
all right,
going to
listen,
say
D.
less than what
Grums.
it is.
D. Grums, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm
Yeah.
guessing you're East Coast.
I'm not saying I love it. I'm just saying I was prepared for
Nobody
it.
likes you. It's okay. But I was just saying what he said. You can't see
Don't tell
those.
them
You
you
can't
like-
see those comments.
She's not
All these
coming.
comments, these are my private comments you're not seeing right now. Everybody is pissed off at you.
Okay. I think they're pissed off at the fact that California exists, which here. Sorry, Francis. I know you're in here with us, but yeah, I'd be okay if they're not being there too. But at the end of the day, it does. This was always going to happen. Literally, this is best case scenario is them playing a super late game on Friday night. Otherwise,
Why?
because we'd be saying sayonara if they weren't. Like, that is
Yes, obviously.
only
But
other
listen,
thing.
I want them to play a 9. Can I just ask for a 9? I just need 30 extra
This
minutes.
Debbie Downer moment can be fixed by Blanton's, where taste meets affordability.
Hey, real quick, I do have mine. I don't want to give Blanton's too much love, but I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can't see that at all.
That's okay. I know. We know. We appreciate you.
You know. You
All right, we're getting off the rails, Daniel. Bring it back in. That's your job.
That's all right. But yeah, so real quick, let me update my little banner that I'm about to put up. But 9:30 start. So if you are on the East Coast, which I know we do have a lot of fans that are on the East Coast, it is a 10:30 start for you. Damn, you're laughing at our friends.
That's a classic comment at the bottom by our boy D Grums. All right, we got to get it back on the rails. Show the comment, pull it up because it's a great comment. Now we got to get back on the rails.
All right, we'll get back. All right, real quick, we're gonna get back into it. I'm just clicking every button at this point. All right, fat finger.
It's
Sorry.
brutal.
All right, so getting back to it, the adjustments. What needs to be made real fast? Last thing on adjustments. Anything else you got for those?
I think there's 2 adjustments. One we've already talked about, which is, I mean, they're gonna play Dylan, but you got to get him off the court. He's just not playable, and that leads me to the second adjustment, which is quicker adjustments.
Okay.
Taylor Jenkins found some stuff that worked tonight, and he did a really good job, I think, of putting the guys in a
What
position.
were those things?
Small ball was a big one.
Okay.
Small ball was a big one. Just find a way to space the floor. And then, again, it helps when guys make shots. Not going 9 for 42 from 3 is an adjustment that the players made. I will give Taylor Jenkins credit for that since he's got screwed over for them going 9 for 42. Credit
We
to
made
him.
5 more and shot 2 less, just so we're on the same
that's
page.
Taylor Jenkins. That's all he's doing since it was his fault beforehand, too. But the other one is just make the quick adjustments. There was too many times where, I mean, he was not going away from Dylan tonight. And that just can't happen when you see it start to go the wrong way and it keeps coinciding with the same guy being put in the game. You just got to be quicker. And I thought he was a little slow on some adjustments tonight, a little slow on some subs. You just got to do it. And let's look again. And part of this, has helped. Well, the last thing helped that the Grizzlies had it in hand at the end of the game. The only Grizzly to play 40 minutes tonight was Desmond Bane. Don't be afraid to put Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson over 40 minutes. There's nothing. This is the end. If you don't pull it out, there's nothing left to lose.
Yeah.
Play those guys big minutes. Don't be afraid to sub them back in with 8 minutes left in the fourth, 9 minutes left in the fourth if it looks like it's headed the wrong direction, And so I think those are the 2 main adjustments. And I thought Taylor did a really good job tonight of making adjustments. I think there's still room for improvement on that.
Yeah, he did sub out Dylan early in the second half, I believe it was. I'm not. Yeah, I think it was. He set him out early. I think he did come back to him due to somebody. I think it was Luke getting hurt. That's what it was.
Got hurt.
Luke getting hurt, and so he came back into him. And so I'm curious what that would have looked like if you didn't have Luke go down and get hurt. Who knows? But I have preached going small. In my opinion, what that does is that helps you. X has played great, but you can go small. I don't care who starts. I don't care. If you want to start Dylan Brooks, who cares? Like I've said that many times, and some people disagree with me. Just starting is it's just who starts the game. It's not who ends the game. But I do know that it is part of being a label. Maybe you're a label hoe. That's fine. If you want to be a starter hoe, that's fine too. But if you want to be somebody who finishes the game, you want to be you want to be a game-ending hoe. I don't know.
What are you doing? I've never heard you say "ho" so many times.
I'm just trying to make it all funny, but I'm just thinking that if you do start Dylan, that's fine. Maybe come in early with the small ball, and whether that is straight into X being subbed out, and that way you can overlap maybe X and Jaren, and then maybe come in with Roddy and get Dylan out. There's so many adjustments you can make. But I think going small is the best way for this team because, yes, as you saw tonight, you're going to have Anthony Davis. He's going to get between 25 to 35 points. Like, he's just that type of a player. Does that matter that much for you if you play Dylan? Like, can he help you enough if you play Dylan? I don't think that matters that much. Then on the offensive end, I think it helps so much. But sorry about the host stuff, but I thought it was funny. All right, let's keep it going.
Nothing wrong with it. I was just confused.
I was just trying my hardest. All right, let's go to the silver linings and we'll kind of get you out of here. Your silver linings and kind of what you're thinking about game 6.
Silver lining is we're still here. And it's
drink to that.
And when you look at the regular season comparisons, people, it's like, hey, we've gone on 4-game winning streaks, 11-game winning streaks. We can win 3 in a row. Like, this isn't the regular season, but that's the good news for the Grizzlies. Like now it's not, hey, you need to win 3 in a row. It's, hey, you need to win 2. And what have you needed to do since the end of game 1? You had to steal one on the road.
Yep.
You have another chance to steal one on the road.
Just steal one on the road.
And there's no reason that you can't. You saw what they were able to do. They outplayed the Lakers for 3 quarters in game 3. They let it slip away with one of the worst shooting nights they've had the entire season, not just this series, the entire season. Still should have won that game 4. Now you got a chance to go do it in game 6. Your legs are younger. Your legs are fresher. You've got the opportunity. And all the pressure is off. The pressure is off of the Grizzlies, even if it gets to a game 7. Game 7, the pressure is still on the Lakers. They are the ones up 3-1. Like you have all the underdog ability, all the underdog thoughts are on you now. And all you got to do is play one awesome game in LA, steal one, you get game 7 at home. All the pressure's on the other side.
Yeah. I agree. Man, it's just right there for you. You just have to play a great game because no matter how I think of this Lakers team or what I say of this Lakers team, they're an NBA team, so they're good. I don't think they're good enough, and they shouldn't be winning a series in general in the playoffs. But you got to think a healthy AD and a healthy LeBron that can win a series for you. If not, win maybe a couple series for you in the playoffs, just because those two dudes are just so good. But this team that the Grizzlies have are just so much better when they play well and they play their style of basketball with confidence.
And that's exactly what I was going to get to is no matter what happens, you're now playing Grizzlies basketball.
They are. And they have to keep playing that way.
Yeah, and whether they go on to the next series or whether they get beat and they don't make it to the next series, you wanted to end this season and go out playing Grizzlies basketball, and now they've gotten back to that. You saw in game 4, and now you get to see it all the way through this past game 5, and now you get to carry it over to game 6. You found it. Keep it going. Yeah. You got the confidence back. You got your swagger back.
Got that swag back.
My bag
I like it, man.
I need more.
I can't wait.
What's animated? There we go. There's the word.
I can't wait for game 6. Tonight I was nervous. Were you nervous at all?
Yeah, it was a weird
It was a weird
nervous
nervous
energy though.
yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like it wasn't
Nervous
energy though.
yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was like, there's really like no expectations left. But I'll be damned if they go out like freaking cowards, dude. I just can't do it.
I agree.
I think, and I was what was in the back of my mind. And I was like 3-2, you're back to respectable, and now you've got them. They're on their heels, and so now I'm like, what pressure?
You know what I was nervous about? This is so selfish.
Uh-oh.
What am I gonna do?
I'm gonna do. I gotta go hang out with my kids.
Listen, I hang out with my kids and wife every single night before I get into here, and I love that part of my life. So I will talk about that. But secondly, I love coming on the podcast in general, but I love watching the team. Like I feel connected, and I have no reason to feel connected, but I feel connected with the team in the sense like I just love watching basketball in general. But I love watching the Grizzlies. It's so much fun.
You think you got it bad? I'm only got like one episode of Ted Lasso, 2 episodes of Ted Lasso left. I gotta go find another TV show for me and Sarah to go watch. I'm running out, man.
I love it. But yeah, this team has been special, man, and it's not over. You know what? And who knows if it's just starting? But I am not ready to have the last podcast. There's so much more that we're going to do in the off season. Like I talked about a little bit earlier on, I'm going to be at the studio. So we're going to try some new things, some different things. Nathan will still be on here. He'll be obviously from parts unknown out in Utah. And so we're going to keep him going there. As long as we can uncover him from the snow plow. We'll use the snow plow to bring him out. I don't know what I'm talking about at this point. But oh shoot. I just hit my camera.
Man. Even the camera's off the rails. All right, bring us home, DG.
Check out Shrinking after Ted Lasso.
Yeah, my sister watched that show. I'm going to give it a look. Good suggestion. She loves that show.
I've never heard of it. So last thing on Silver Linings, anything else you got for next game?
That's it. It's all fun. We're having fun again. Victory show. Who knew that winning would make it more fun?
Who knew? We're not firing Tater Jenkins tonight. It's weird. Tonight I'm excited that the Grizzlies showed that they had a little bit of heart, and I think that they're going to continue showing that. And I'm telling you, man, this team, when the cards are all on the table, they show up and they show out, and they have continued to do that. This season, the previous season, I don't put anything past those dudes. I think that they come out and they play with their hair on fire, and I think they win Game 6. I think it's going to be more of a higher scoring game, but I wouldn't doubt if you see another Desmond Bane game where he goes off for 30 plus. You might see Ja go off for a little bit more. Maybe Ja has a 35, 38 point game. Jaren plays a little bit better. Maybe Dylan plays less minutes. I think the Grizzlies win 122-117. What say you?
I'm not going to give exact numbers, but I'm with you. It's going to be high scoring. And I also think it is a full 48 type game. You know how some games get won in the first quarter or the second quarter or whatever. There's one quarter that really stands out. I feel like it is a full 48 type game. So looking forward to it. What am I going to say? They lose? No, I think they win. I think it's a high scoring game, 120s, et cetera, and they're able to pull it out. I can't tell if Daniel is still here or not, or if he's dead, but I'm going to check Twitter to see. I think he may have been disconnected and I'm not allowed to end the show. So I'm going to keep it. Somebody in the comments can tell me if DG is still here or if he actually killed his camera and it got that far derailed. Then, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I was sitting there. I was like, I'm trying to make sure my internet's not the one that got completely derailed, but see, it was yours.
I don't know why I'm having this. This isn't good. Listen, I don't know what just happened. I'll turn you around real quick so that people can.
That confirmed you're dead.
Yeah. I've never seen the screen that I saw come on.
Oof. You got that screen, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what that said. It said that I can't. Something happened where I can't do anything and it has to turn off.
Okay.
Anyway, all right. So
we'll stick here for future minutes.
Let's get out of here. I think. Hold 1 second. Sorry, I'm trying to see if I can even push the buttons. 1 second. Let me turn this over. I think I can see better. There we go.
He's dead.
I apologize. All right, that's it. All right, cool. Listen, I'm excited about whatever is going to happen in Game 6. As long as it's not a blowout, I will be completely thrilled with how this series. I won't actually. You know what? I'll back it up. I won't be thrilled with how the series went. I'll be thrilled with the fact that they fought, and that's the biggest thing. Is they fought, and that is they actually show that. You know what? Yes, we played terrible. Yes, we have injuries, but at the end of the day, we fought and we played well. And so that's what I'll be happy about. But man, I'm telling you, dude, I feel so good about Game 6 to the point of I think this team actually can come out and surprise them. I think they had the momentum. Tonight, I even said at some point, if it was me, I probably would have benched AD and LeBron personally, because then you don't have any momentum as a Grizzlies team. You're giving up the loss, right? But then you're coming back to Lakers, and the Grizzlies don't have any momentum. They have all the questions like, hey, can we beat this team with AD and LeBron? The only thing you have to worry about is did you wear the rest of your team down? But they played AD, they played LeBron, and now the Grizzlies know they can beat them, and they are the better team. If they shoot well, they're going to win. That's just plain and simple.
Yeah.
But that's
Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that. All right. Well, thank you for hanging out with us. As always, go ahead and subscribe to Bluff City Media over on YouTube. If you're listening on the podcast, this is the second most ever listened to podcast last week, and so thank you of all time. I'm telling you, I saw the numbers keep creeping, and I go, oh my God, this might be an all timer. And so it was an all timer, and so it was second most this past week or this past episode. So Wednesday night was second most. So. It was cool to kind of see that, but that's all we have. As you know, we're going to keep doing good things on here. And so if you could tell your friends, but most of all, be nice and tell your friends.